We're talking NFC West Part 2, the Seattle Seahawks and San Francisco 49ers. This is Part 2 of NFC West. You're listening, as usual, to Sean and Brett on Get Paid. How you doing, my friend?
I'm chilling, buddy. How you doing? Missed you last week.
Yeah, man. I'm good. I know we're continuing our NFC West conversation today with probably, in my opinion, I guess you can't call the 49ers underrated anymore, but like we talked about in Part 1, I think the Seattle Seahawks are entirely underrated. We talked about the NFC West last year, dude. We were over on these two teams.
Yeah.
We both made money on these two teams, which is good for us, I guess. And I think neither one of these, or I should say either one of these two teams could honestly win the NFC, and it wouldn't shock either one of us. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're going to go head-to-head with each other, for sure.
For sure, just like they did last year. I mean, if what was
and I know that the bettors are discounting the Seahawks, but I think they're. I'm not going to say they're just as good as the Niners, but man, anybody playing the Seahawks, you'd have to assume you may not come out of there with a win.
Yeah, these two teams split last year, I believe, and
do you remember the last game?
Yeah.
If the Seahawks are 6 inches away, right? If the Seahawks win that game, the Packers are the 1 seed, and the Niners drop down to the 5 seed. I believe.
You're right.
That's how it happened.
Seattle finishes in the 2nd seed. The Niners drop down to the 5 seed. I mean, they're splitting hairs, especially in this division because they play each other so tough. And Seattle made a lot of. So let's just start with Seattle, I guess. Seattle made a lot of improvements in the offseason. I like it's been an undersold, in my opinion, development. But we've been talking all offseason about how we don't like Russell Wilson. We don't like him, but we respect the hell out of him.
Absolutely.
Is there
more than anyone else in the league?
Let's just go through. We do this periodically. What quarterback, let's say, would you take? Do you think Russell Wilson's equal, or do you think Russell Wilson's is better than Russell Wilson? So I'm just going to go through the different teams and the quarterbacks, okay? And tell me tell me a player that you say is just say yes or no. How many players that you would say yes, he's equal? I'd be just as comfortable with him starting a Super Bowl, or yeah, I would prefer to take him. Let's just run through the league, okay? And we'll go in order. Patriots, Cam Newton, yes or no?
No.
Actually, let me just run through. You got Josh Allen. You got Sam Darnold.
No.
You got who's the other team there? Oh, Tua Tagovailoa or Ryan Fitzpatrick. No. Ben Roethlisberger at this point, no.
No.
Lamar Jackson, you could make the case for me personally, no.
No.
Baker Mayfield
is a case, but I'd say no.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
No.
Burrow, no. So then you go to the South. You got Deshaun Watson. I think you have a case. But for me, no. What about you?
But for me, no. You have a case, but for me, no.
Then you got Phillip Rivers, no way. I like Phillip Rivers, but no. Tannehill, no. Gardner Minshew, who I like, but no. Okay, so through 3 divisions, nobody. Patrick Mahomes is a yes for me.
Yes.
And
Patrick
then
Mahomes, yeah.
There's nobody there. Carr, you got Drew Lock, you got who's the 4th division there? Oh, like Tyrod Taylor, Justin Herbert. Those are no's. Let's start. Dak Prescott's a no. Daniel, nobody. What about Carson Wentz?
No.
Yeah, for me is a no as well. Aaron Rodgers for you, soft spot for you.
Well, I'm biased. I would still take Aaron for sure, but I will say this: if Aaron had to go away, the one guy I would want would be Russell Wilson.
Not
for
Patrick Mahomes. You would take Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah,
right.
but I would take Wilson actually comfortably at this point over Aaron Rodgers. And I love Aaron Rodgers, but I would take Wilson. Then let's see, Kirk Cousins, no. Stafford, no. Drew Brees and Tom Brady, the only pair in the South that you would think about.
Drew Brees or Tom Brady, they're great, and they may be just as good, but I love something. Russell Wilson has this magic that I've never seen from anyone. It's like this, you haven't lost until it says 0 on the clock.
I agree.
It's just wild. He's never out of it, no matter if it's 5 minutes left and they're down 18. Like, all of a sudden you find yourself tied, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think for me, if you're talking about one game, maybe Tom Brady, but for me, no. I still like Russell Wilson's escapability at this point. And Matt Ryan for us is a no. I know we didn't mention it, but is no. Teddy Bridgewater, no.
Yeah.
So then you're back into the division. You got Goff, you got Garoppolo, you got Kyler Murray. So in the entire NFL, the only one that we agreed on is Patrick Mahomes, and you would take Rodgers, and I would not.
I would only take Rodgers because I'm partial.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Aaron's playing at a higher level at all. I'm just completely partial. I wouldn't be able to say those words out loud.
Yep.
Or even in my head, I can't do it.
Yep. And so Russell Wilson, I think that because the Seahawks teams that went to the Super Bowl, they were led by the defense. I think that, I still think people think that Russell Wilson is like kind of like a game manager. And when I say people, I mean like bettors. I mean maybe not so much fantasy football because he's kind of a monster in fantasy football. But I just don't think that Seattle gets the respect because I don't think Russell Wilson gets the respect. And I always say this, Brad and I don't like Russell Wilson. We actively root against Seattle. But come on. I mean, you got to use your eyes, everybody, especially.
I know.
When
what are we
money's on the
missing?
line.
What are we missing? Like maybe it's funny because maybe in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't have more wins than, I don't know, Carson Wentz or other quarterbacks. But when you watch him, it's different.
It is.
And like I just said, it's that same deal where I'd never seen a guy that pulls rabbits out the hat like that. I've just never seen it.
Yeah, it's like, so last year in the Super Bowl, I know we'll talk about the 49ers, but you just never really thought that Kansas City was out of it. And Russell Wilson's the only quarterback in the league where I'm just like, you're down by 3 scores with 7 minutes left. Yeah, they can still get it done.
Yeah.
That's very rare, man. And Tom Brady used to be that, but he's just a little bit old, and the game's changed. So Russell Wilson being able to escape the pocket and make off-schedule plays, 3rd and 17, he runs for 20 yards. It's just... He's just so damn good.
I know. Right? 3rd and 17, he runs for 20 yards.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you're a team and you're rooting for a team, and you've seen this multiple times as a Packers fan, in battles in the playoffs, you don't feel good about a lead ever.
Never. Not once.
And so for that, I love the Seahawks, and not even talking about the additions they made. So, DK Metcalf, rookie receiver, really came on the last 8 games last year. You get Tyler Lockett, you get Philip Dorsett coming over from New England, and one of these under the radar. So they had some issues at tight end with injury. You got Disley always going out. They were down to like their 3rd string tight end. Well, off season, they ended up adding Greg Olsen from Carolina. Even in fantasy football, nobody's really talking about that. Russell Wilson likes his tight ends in the red zone. You get Greg Olsen.
Yeah, this is true. I know, but yeah. Well, he's I don't know, man. Greg Olsen was
he was good
really
about
good
5 years ago, but he
10
also had
years ago.
Well,
Come on.
He only has to be alive for 8 snaps a game, dude, to make a difference on this team.
Okay. See, that's my point. Is that a difference? Is he going to make an impact? And
Will.
I'm just bitter because I've seen Jimmy Graham, who was good 8 years ago, and couldn't contribute in any decent way.
Well, he did. What Jimmy Graham did, though, is he caught touchdowns. He didn't do anything else for the Seahawks, but he did catch touchdowns for them.
Dude,
and I
at
agree.
him, I disagree 100%.
No, I had him.
Caught a touchdown or two.
What now?
Because he caught one touchdown or 2 touchdowns for the Packers. Are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about for the Seahawks way back in the way.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Yeah. So, like I said, Russell Wilson, I mean, he makes, weekly starts out of guys like Will Disley. But even then, he's got, and Brad and I have been saying this for a while, or I should say I shouldn't talk about you in the 4th person, whatever it was. But we've been saying this. We think these next 3 to 5 years are going to be what we look back on Russell Wilson and say, those were the best years of his career.
Yes,
They're
right. Out of his mind. Where the game is slower than he is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. And we're about to see that. And I am a buyer on the Seahawks. And people have been selling on them for the last 2 years. They've been in the playoffs the last 2 years. Could have been the 2 seed. Let me hit you with the over-under win total, Brad, for the Seahawks. 9 wins.
I'm going to go over. Back to Russell Wilson. An analogy I like to use is the game is going to be so slow for him in these next few years, right? It's like Neo from the Matrix. He will no longer have to dodge bullets. He just stops them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like he is just dialed in. And that is what we're going to see. And to have a line for 9 wins, come on, man. Come on.
I know it's a tough division. I agree that as an organization, San Francisco is stronger at this point, but San Francisco has the Super Bowl hangover. Seattle plays San Francisco incredibly strong. Would not shock me at all if Seattle sweeps San Francisco this season.
Right.
Now, you look, over the next 10 years, I still like San Francisco better. But
look, to your point, it wouldn't surprise me if Seattle swept them,
Mhm.
but it also wouldn't surprise me if the 49ers swept them. And just because one of those teams sweeps the other doesn't mean necessarily that that team is better or so much better.
Right.
It just means that they managed to win this dogfight. Because
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
just pull out this dogfight and get those extra few inches that the other team couldn't manage.
Yep, absolutely. So there you go. I'm on the over, man. I like the value there. I know 10 wins is a tough ask of any NFL team. It's kind of a high line, but hey, man, I'm on the over. I think Seattle's definitely in the playoffs.